In a distant galaxy, on a planet known as Valthara, war raged between different species. The air was thick with tension, and the sounds of battle echoed through the valleys. Zara, a fierce warrior from the Kavari race, was on a mission with her squad. They had received reports of enemy movements near an ancient ruin. Zara felt the weight of responsibility as the team's leader. She knew that every decision mattered. As they approached the ruins, Zara could see smoke rising in the distance. Her heart raced. "Stay alert, everyone," she commanded. The soldiers nodded, their faces set with determination. They moved cautiously, scanning the area for any signs of danger. But as they reached the entrance of the ruins, they were suddenly ambushed. A group of Thraxians, known for their brute strength and cunning, charged at them with weapons raised. Zara's heart sank as she saw her squad being overpowered. She fought bravely, her training kicking in as she swung her energy blade. But the Thraxians were relentless. One by one, Zara's comrades fell, and she felt panic rising within her. Just when she thought all was lost, a loud roar echoed through the chaos. Out of nowhere, a human soldier appeared, his armor shining in the dim light. It was Alex, a renowned warrior from Earth who had joined forces with the Kavari for this mission. Zara had heard stories about him, tales of his bravery and skill. Now, she watched in awe as he charged into battle. "Get down!" Alex shouted as he dove into the fray. With swift movements, he cut through the Thraxians, his blade flashing like lightning. Zara could hardly believe her eyes. He fought with an energy that seemed unstoppable. He saved her from a Thraxian swinging a heavy club, grabbing her arm and pulling her to safety. "Are you okay?" Alex asked, concern in his eyes. Zara nodded, still shocked by how quickly he had come to her aid. She had never seen a human fight like this. It was as if he had a fire within him, a desire to protect and fight for those who could not fight for themselves. With Alex fighting alongside her, the tide of the battle began to turn. They moved in sync, covering each other's backs and taking down Thraxians one after another. Zara felt a rush of adrenaline as she fought next to him. For the first time in this war, she felt a glimmer of hope. But the Thraxians kept coming, and soon Zara realized they were outnumbered. "We need to fall back," she shouted, her voice barely audible over the clash of weapons. Alex nodded, and they began to retreat, fighting their way toward the exit. Just as they reached the entrance, a Thraxian warrior blocked their path. Zara felt fear wash over her. This creature was larger than the others, with sharp claws and a menacing growl. She and Alex stood back to back, ready to face the beast together. "On three," Alex said, his voice steady. "1, 2, 3. They attacked simultaneously. Zara swung her blade while Alex lunged forward, using his strength to push the Thraxian back. With a final blow, Zara struck the creature down. Breathing heavily, they stood victorious, but their triumph was short-lived. The sounds of battle still echoed around them, and they knew they had to keep moving. "Let's go!" Zara urged, and they sprinted out of the ruins, finding shelter behind a rocky outcrop. They took a moment to catch their breath, their hearts pounding in their chests. Zara looked at Alex, and for the first time, she felt something different, a connection. "Thank you for saving me," she said, her voice soft but sincere. Alex smiled, a warm light in his eyes. "I couldn't just let you fall. We're in this together." Zara nodded, realizing that in this chaotic war, she had found an unexpected ally in Alex. This brave human had not only saved her life, but had also ignited a spark of hope in her heart. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of a bond that would change everything for both of them. After their narrow escape from the ruins, Zara and Alex found themselves working closely together. The chaos of battle faded into a strange calm as they returned to their base. The Kavari and human forces were grateful for their bravery, but Zara felt a different kind of excitement. She had developed a deep admiration for Alex, the human soldier who had saved her life. Days turned into weeks as they prepared for the next mission. Zara often watched Alex train. He moved with a blend of strength and grace, his focus sharp and his determination evident. During breaks, they would share stories about their lives. Zara learned about Earth, the blue skies, vast oceans, and strange animals. She was fascinated by his tales of home, a place so different from her own. In return, Zara shared stories of her people and their rich history, her voice lighting up as she spoke of the ancient traditions of the Kavari. One sunny morning, as they trained together in the open field, Zara noticed how natural it felt to be around Alex. They sparred playfully, their laughter echoing through the air. "You're getting better, Zara," Alex said with a grin, his eyes shining with encouragement. She felt a rush of pride at his words, pushing herself to improve even more. "Thanks, but I think you're just being nice," Zara replied, her cheeks flushing slightly. They both knew she was becoming a skilled warrior, but Alex's praise made her heart race. As the days passed, they grew closer. They shared quiet moments after training, sitting on the grass and gazing up at the stars. Zara often found herself stealing glances at Alex, admiring the way his face lit up when he spoke about his dreams. He wanted to explore the universe, to see new worlds and meet new beings. Zara's heart swelled at the thought of being part of his adventures. One evening, while they sat together under the stars, Alex turned to her, his expression serious. "Zara, why do you fight?" he asked, genuinely curious. Zara took a deep breath. "I fight for my people. We have a rich history, and I want to protect it. But sometimes I feel like there's more out there, more than just war." She looked into his eyes, feeling vulnerable yet hopeful. "What about you?" Alex smiled softly, his eyes reflecting the starlight. "I fight for the people I care about. I want to make a difference. But I also want to find a place where I truly belong." Zara felt a connection spark between them. It was more than just friendship, it was understanding. They both shared a longing for something greater than themselves. As they continued their training, Zara and Alex began to rely on each other more. In the heat of practice, they pushed each other to excel. Zara discovered new strengths within herself, while Alex learned to adapt his techniques to the Kivari way of fighting. Together, they were unstoppable, their teamwork becoming the envy of their peers. One day, during a particularly intense training session, they were interrupted by the sound of alarms blaring through the base. "What's happening?" Zara asked, her heart racing. "The enemy is advancing!" a voice shouted. The joy of training was quickly replaced by the tension of impending battle. Zara and Alex exchanged glances, determination evident in their eyes. They knew they had to fight together once more. As they prepared for battle, Zara felt a mix of fear and excitement. She knew that with Alex by her side, they could face any challenge. They equipped their weapons, and Zara felt a sense of confidence wash over her. "Let's do this," Alex said, his voice steady and reassuring. Zara nodded, her heart racing, not just from the thrill of battle, but from the bond they had forged. With their weapons ready and spirits high, they marched into the fray. In that moment, Zara knew that no matter what happened, she would always stand by Alex's side. Their friendship had grown into something special, something worth fighting for. And as the battle began, she realized that this journey was just the beginning of their incredible story together. The days after their last battle were tense for Zara and Alex. They had fought bravely and won, but the war was far from over. News spread that the enemy was planning a major attack and everyone at the base was on high alert. Zara felt a knot of worry in her stomach as she and Alex prepared for their next mission. One evening while they trained, Zara noticed that Alex seemed distracted. His usual cheerful demeanor was replaced with a serious expression. "What's on your mind?" she asked, stopping to wipe the sweat from her brow. Alex sighed, looking away. "I'm just thinking about the reports we've received. I can't shake the feeling that something is off," he admitted. "It's almost too quiet. I think the enemy is planning something big." Zara felt a chill run down her spine. "What do you mean? You think they're going to attack?" "I do," he replied, his voice low. "We need to be ready." The following day, Zara and Alex were called to a meeting with their commanders. The room was tense as they gathered around a holographic map. The leaders discussed strategies and possible enemy movements. Zara listened intently, her heart racing as plans were made to counter the expected attack. But just as they were about to finalize their strategy, Draxus, a high-ranking Kivari officer, burst into the room. His face was pale, and there was a wild look in his eyes. "We have a traitor among us!" he shouted. The room fell silent, and everyone turned to look at him in shock. "What are you talking about?" Zara asked, confused. Draxus pointed at Alex, his voice filled with accusation. "He is a spy! I have proof!" Zara's heart sank. "What? No! He's not a spy!" she protested, stepping in front of Alex. "He's fought for us! He saved my life! Think carefully, Zara, Draxus said, his tone cold. He's human. How can we trust him? The humans have their own agenda. Alex stood tall, his eyes locked onto Draxus. I'm not your enemy. I came here to help, he said, his voice steady. You can't let fear guide your decisions. Zara felt torn. She trusted Alex, but Draxus's words planted seeds of doubt in her mind. She couldn't believe her friend would betray them. Draxus, you need to investigate further. There has to be a mistake, she insisted. But Draxus wouldn't listen. We have to act now. If we don't, the enemy will use this to their advantage, he said, looking around the room. We will arrest him and find the truth. Before Zara could protest, guards rushed in and grabbed Alex. No! Let him go! She shouted, her heart pounding in fear. She struggled to break free and reach Alex, but the guards held her back. Zara, listen to me, Alex said, his voice calm despite the chaos. You have to trust me. I will prove my innocence. As they dragged him away, Zara felt a mix of anger and helplessness. I won't let this happen, she yelled, but it was too late. Alex was taken from the room, leaving her alone with her racing thoughts. Over the next few days, Zara couldn't focus on anything but Alex's arrest. She knew deep down that he wasn't a spy. The bond they had formed was real, built on trust and friendship. Determined to find a way to help him, she began her own investigation. Zara spoke to other soldiers looking for any clues that might prove Alex's innocence. She overheard whispers about Draxus and how some Kivari felt threatened by the alliance with humans. It was then that she realized this wasn't just about Alex. It was about fear and prejudice against those who were different. One night, as she lay in bed, an idea struck her. What if Draxus was the real traitor? What if he was trying to turn the Kivari against the humans to gain more power? The thought made her skin crawl. She had to find a way to expose him. The next morning, Zara gathered a small group of trusted soldiers. We need to rescue Alex, she said, her voice steady. And we need to uncover the truth about Draxus. He can't be allowed to manipulate us like this. Her friends nodded, determination shining in their eyes. Together, they devised a plan to infiltrate the holding area where Alex was being kept. Zara felt a surge of hope. She would not let fear tear them apart. This battle was not just for her friend, it was for the future of their alliance. As they moved silently through the base, Zara knew they were risking everything. But for Alex, she would fight with all her strength. The danger was real and betrayal lurked in the shadows, but Zara was ready to confront it. With her heart pounding, she led her friends into the darkness, ready to face whatever awaited them. Zara's heart raced as she and her friends crept through the dimly lit corridors of the base. They were on a mission to rescue Alex and expose Draxus as the true traitor. With each step, the stakes grew higher, but Zara was determined. She knew they had to act quickly. The enemy was preparing for a major attack, and they needed Alex back by their side. As they reached the holding area, Zara signaled for her friends to stay quiet. They peeked through the small window in the door and saw Alex sitting alone in a cell. His expression was calm, but Zara could see the determination in his eyes. She felt a rush of relief knowing he was okay, but they needed to move fast. Okay, here's the plan, Zara whispered. I'll create a distraction. When the guards come to check, you'll rush in and free him. Her friends nodded, their faces filled with resolve. Taking a deep breath, Zara stepped out into the hallway. She made some noise, knocking over a stack of crates. The sound echoed through the corridor. Almost instantly, guards rushed toward the commotion. Zara could hear their footsteps growing closer, and she turned to face them. Help! Help me! She shouted, feigning panic. The guards hesitated for a moment, confused. This was the distraction Zara needed. As they moved toward her, her friends sprang into action. They pushed open the door to Alex's cell and quickly made their way inside. Zara, what are you doing? Alex exclaimed, surprise flashing in his eyes. Rescuing you, she replied, working on the lock. Draxus has betrayed us. We need to go now! With a loud click, the door swung open. Alex sprang to his feet, relief flooding his face. Thank you. Let's get out of here before they notice, he urged. As they all dashed out of the cell, the guards realized what was happening. The alarm blared loudly, sending everyone into a frenzy. They're escaping! One guard yelled. Zara felt adrenaline surge through her as she and her friends sprinted down the corridor, Alex right beside her. They made their way back to the main hall, but the path was blocked by Draxus and several armed guards. You think you can just walk away? Draxus sneered, his eyes cold. "You'll pay for this betrayal." Zara stood firm, her heart pounding. "You're the traitor, Draxus! You've tried to turn us against each other. We won't let you!" "Enough of this!" Draxus shouted, raising his weapon. The guards flanked him, ready to attack. In that moment, Alex stepped forward, his voice steady. "We won't fight you, Draxus, but we won't let you hurt anyone either." Draxus laughed, a harsh sound that sent chills down Zara's spine. "You're outnumbered. You can't win." "Maybe not," Alex replied, "but we won't back down." He glanced at Zara and their friends, determination shining in their eyes. They were ready to stand together no matter the odds. Suddenly, a loud explosion rocked the base, shaking the ground beneath them. Alarms blared and smoke filled the air. Zara felt the chaos erupt around them. "We need to move!" she shouted, grabbing Alex's arm. In the confusion, they rushed past Draxus and his guards, pushing toward the exit. The hallways were filled with soldiers scrambling to respond to the attack. "This way!" Zara yelled, leading the group toward a side exit she had spotted earlier. As they ran, they could hear the sounds of battle outside. The enemy forces were advancing, and their attacks were relentless. "We have to join the fight!" Alex said, his eyes fierce. Zara hesitated. "But what about Draxus? He's not our priority right now." "We have to protect our people," Alex urged. Zara nodded, knowing he was right. They couldn't let fear hold them back. Bursting through the exit, they entered the battlefield. The scene before them was chaotic. Explosions lit up the sky, and the sounds of laser fire filled the air. Zara's heart raced as she took in the sight. They had to fight for their lives and for the future of their alliance. "Let's do this!" Zara shouted, adrenaline surging through her veins. She and Alex joined the fray, fighting side by side. They moved with a fluidity that came from their training, trusting each other as they battled against the enemy forces. As the fighting raged on, Zara spotted Draxus in the distance, leading a group of soldiers against their own. Rage boiled inside her. "We need to stop him!" she yelled to Alex. Together, they fought their way toward Draxus. With each step, they faced fierce opposition, but their resolve only grew stronger. They were not just fighting for themselves, they were fighting for each other. Finally, they reached Draxus. He turned to face them, fury in his eyes. "You think you can stop me?" he hissed. Zara stepped forward, her weapon raised. "This ends now, Draxus. You will not hurt anyone else." With a final push, they fought against Draxus and his loyal guards. The battle was fierce, but Zara and Alex fought with everything they had. They had come too far to back down now. With a decisive blow, Zara disarmed Draxus and he fell to the ground. The other soldiers hesitated, unsure of who to follow. Zara seized the moment. "This is our chance! Stand with us!" she shouted, her voice carrying over the chaos. Slowly, the soldiers began to turn, joining Zara and Alex in their fight. Together, they pushed back against the enemy, united in their resolve. In that moment, Zara knew they were not just fighting for survival. They were fighting for a future where Kivari and humans could stand together. And as the sun began to rise, casting light over the battlefield, Zara felt hope blossom within her heart. This was just the beginning of their new alliance. The battle had raged for hours, and as the dust began to settle, Zara stood among the ruins of the base, breathing heavily. The air was filled with smoke, and the sounds of gunfire had faded, leaving behind an eerie silence. She glanced around at her friends and allies, weary but victorious. They had faced a great threat and emerged stronger than before. Zara found Alex by her side, his expression a mix of relief and determination. "We did it," he said, a smile breaking through the exhaustion on his face. "We fought together and won." Zara nodded, her heart swelling with pride. "But it's not over yet. We still have to rebuild and unite our people." She glanced at the soldiers who had joined them during the battle. Many were wounded, but they stood tall, ready to support the new alliance. As they gathered to regroup, Zara took a moment to reflect on how far they had come. Just a short while ago, she was a Kivari struggling with her identity, and Alex was a human soldier fighting for survival. Now they were part of something greater, a bond that had formed in the heat of battle. Their friendship had changed everything. Suddenly, a familiar figure approached. It was General Mara, the leader of the Kivari forces. She looked tired but resolute. "Zara, Alex," she called out, her voice strong. "We need to talk about the future. With Draxus gone, we have a chance to unite our people." Zara's heart raced. "You're right. But how do we convince everyone?" Some Kivari still distrust humans. General Mara nodded. It will take time, but we must start by showing them that humans and Kivari can work together. We have to build trust. Alex stepped forward, his voice firm. We can hold a meeting with leaders from both sides. We'll share our experiences and show them that we're not enemies. We fought side by side and we can do it again. Mara smiled, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. That's a great idea. I'll gather the leaders. We need to make this happen soon. As they began to plan the meeting, Zara felt a sense of purpose filling her. This was their chance to create a new future. But deep down, she also knew there would be challenges ahead. Changing minds and hearts was never easy. The following days were filled with preparation. Zara, Alex, and General Mara worked tirelessly to organize the meeting. They invited leaders from all over the region, preparing to share their story and their vision for a united future. Finally, the day arrived. Zara stood in the center of a large, makeshift gathering area, feeling a mixture of excitement and anxiety. Around her were leaders from various Kivari factions and human representatives. The atmosphere was tense. Many still held doubts. Zara took a deep breath and stepped forward. Thank you all for coming. We have faced a great challenge together. And we stand here today because we believed in each other. She glanced at Alex, who smiled encouragingly. What we fought for was more than just survival. We fought for a future where Kivari and humans can live side by side. A murmur spread through the crowd. Zara continued, Draxus sought to divide us, but we proved that we are stronger together. I know there are still doubts, but I ask you to consider our friendship. We have seen the best and worst of each other. Together we can build something great. As she spoke, Zara noticed some leaders nodding, while others remained skeptical. She knew it would take time to change their minds, but this was a start. Alex took his turn to speak. We fought for our lives, but we also fought for each other. I've seen the strength of the Kivari people, and I believe that together we can create a better future for everyone. His words echoed with sincerity, and Zara felt hope blossoming in her heart. Slowly, one by one, the leaders began to voice their thoughts. Some shared their fears, while others expressed their desire for unity. Each voice added to the conversation, and Zara felt a sense of connection forming among them. After hours of discussion, a consensus began to emerge. We can start small, one elder Kivari said. Perhaps we can establish trade between our people or work together on common goals. Zara smiled, knowing that every small step would lead to greater change. As the meeting concluded, she felt a sense of accomplishment. They had started a dialogue, and the seeds of hope had been planted. As the sun began to set, casting a golden light over the gathering, Zara turned to Alex. This is just the beginning, isn't it? Yes, he replied, a glint of determination in his eyes. We have a long way to go, but we're on the right path. Together, we can make a real difference. Zara nodded, feeling a warmth in her heart. The journey ahead would be challenging, but with their friendship and the support of their people, they could overcome anything. Hope had taken root, and a new era was dawning for both humans and Kivari. As they stood together, watching the sun dip below the horizon, Zara knew that they were no longer just survivors. They were pioneers of a new alliance, one built on trust, understanding, and the promise of a brighter future.